Do you struggle with being who you are at all times? Have you had a time in your life where you couldn't be your authentic self? So what does that mean exactly in a world that doesn't accept everyone? Yes, we absolutely want to be more authentic. It's being pushed that people being authentic should be accepted in the workplace and people being authentic is welcomed in the world. But is it? Because we know that we don't live in a world that's always forgiving, and we don't live in a world that's always accepting of everyone, regardless of what you come with. There are certainly a whole trash bag full of stereotypes about every race and every gender. And because of that, we struggle with being who we are at all times. If you are at an outing, you hear someone make a comment about homosexuality, then you find out that that person works with you. Are you going to feel comfortable bringing your spouse to a work event? Because that person very well may not be your boss today, but they may be your boss 6 years from now. How will that affect your employment? If you are a black woman, we are known for being passionate in our speech. If you're passionate with your speech in the workplace, are you going to be seen as the angry black woman? Do you feel like you need to maybe not be as expressive as you typically would be about a subject because you don't want to appear some kind of way? We're talking about a mother who won't mention the fact that she is a parent because she doesn't want to be viewed as not able to commit as much in the workforce as a woman that is childless. We will talk about someone who has a disability that will cover up their disability. Even though they may have a difficult time walking and they need a walker, they'll walk with a cane instead so that they will appear to fit in just a little more. You see, covering up your authentic self is very much a universal concept. It touches every single solitary person. And you might ask, how is a white man who is considered to be the majority covering up their authentic self? There are plenty of white men who are purchasing things beyond their financial means just to fit the so-called standard that their race dictates. There are a lot of men who hide some of their medical conditions so that they compete competitively in the business world. Some of us have had to play the game. You do what you need to do to get ahead. And so the challenge is, how do you go about being your authentic self in a world that values mainstream? Now, being authentic takes a little bit of skill because you have to know when and where it's appropriate to reveal your authentic self. You don't want to get yourself in a pickle and reveal something about yourself that really is not going to put you in the best light. So the best thing is to first become more self-aware and knowing who you are, what you value, and increasing your emotional intelligence so that you can see when it's an appropriate time to reveal all aspects of yourself. Make sure that when you are being your authentic self, that you're also paying attention to people's body language. That will give you a good clue that it may not be the best time to self-disclose. Ask yourself when you are practicing self-disclosure whether or not it's relevant to the situation that you're currently in, or whether you're just sharing random information just to be sharing something. And understand your audience. Everything isn't said everywhere in front of everyone. Now, as you can see, organizations are pushing that word. You want to be more authentic in the workplace. And yes, you want to be more authentic, but I just encourage you to do it cautiously. Unfortunately, as much as organizations want you to be authentic, I don't know that this world is completely ready for everyone's authentic self, because everyone doesn't have the emotional intelligence to be understanding, to be compassionate without judging them based on stereotypes. So I encourage you today to educate those around you about who you are, because we all know that although you may be a part of a certain race, your cultural background may be very different than someone else's. And just because you're part of the LGBTQ community, your experiences are going to be very different than your peers. We don't do enough of accepting people where they're at and taking them for who they are. That, unfortunately, is a sad truth that we live in today in mainstream America. In the meantime, just be kind to your fellow man and woman, accept where they come from and all that they come with, because you just might learn something if you're willing enough to be open. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.